An author. It's Sheryl Gwyther, and she writes novels, school plays, chapter books, magazine articles, and is a keen blogger. She is the recipient of 2 Australian Society of Author Mentorships and was also awarded a May Gibbs Children's Literature Trust Fellowship in 2008. This year, Sheryl will be the author in residence at the Ipswich Festival of Children's Literature. Good time to promote for Jenny? Taking on the inaugural role of official festival blogger. Sheryl's books include The Secrets of Eromanga, Princess Clown, and Charlie and the Red Hot Chili Pepper. Last year, Sheryl's horror story, Corn Dolly Dead, was included in the Short and Scary anthology. Another story, Scaredy Crow, is in this month's Junior Journal New Zealand School magazine. And she was most anxious for me to tell you that her books are available for sale outside. Sheryl's passion for children's books led to a leading role in last year's fierce battle against parallel importation of books. Her Saving Aussie Books blog now supports the ongoing national struggle to stop the decimation of primary school libraries. Sheryl. Oh, there you are. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Now I've got a confession to make. This is the first time I've done this, so in my mind I thought it would be you wouldn't know what books I'd chosen, so that I wasn't going to give you too many clues. So I can't tell you all the names of the characters or anything much about the stories, because you don't know what I'm going to choose, do you? But anyway, that's okay, because the books that I have chosen, to me, are pretty special, and I urge you to make sure you get your hands on some copies. Okay. Yes, well, Charlie and the Red Hot Chili Pepper, that was published last year. The publisher didn't enter it for some reason, so I was a bit disappointed with that. But I had one good thing about that, was that I was able to be the Clayton's judge here for the CBCA, and that was well worth doing. What writers wouldn't jump at the chance to get their hands on a year's worth of new children's books? An excuse to lie around for 2 months and read over 100 books. Well, I didn't actually get to read 100, but yeah, it was good. A legitimate reason for put off doing housework and gardening. Of course, it didn't end up that way at all. I still had to vacuum and weed and write my own stories. But what a pleasure it's been to tackle that huge pile of books. I can tell you, the book publishing industry for young people in this country is alive and well. Luckily, I'd read 15 of the titles before I started, so that cut it back to about 85 to get through in 2 months. Yeah, my eyes were hanging out a bit. They ranged from glorious picture books to complicated 400-word stories, novels. Silly me for leaving the fat ones till the last week, before the deadline. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to read several books before that deadline fell, like Sophie Mason's Hunt for Ned Kelly and Leanne Tanner's The Keepers. I just finished The Keepers a few days ago and absolutely adored it. I was allowed to choose 2 books from those boxes as a keepsake, my little reward for being a Clayton's judge. One of them is The Keepers, and I can't wait for the next one in the series. It's a fantastic book. So that's not up there, that's why I'm giving it a plug. One thing I wasn't prepared for was ending up with a long short list in my final week of reading. 15 funny, heartwarming, thoughtful, exciting stories like Chris Bonger's Henry Howie Hobson, Angela Sunday's Pond Magic, Pat Flynn's The Trophy Kid, Sally Murphy's Toppling, and Lorraine Marwood's Ute Picnic. In the end, choosing my final 6 wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. because I could only approach the judging process as an author and a reader. I'm not an expert on children's books. So it came down to the 6 stories that left their mark on my heart. These are the ones that sent little shivers of delight up my spine as I read, where I dreaded coming to the end of the story but couldn't stop reading however much I tried to slow down. They're not on the real, some of them aren't on the real shortlist, but these are the titles I wish I had written. And I had it funny, as we were driving here, I had a thought in my head about this Clayton's idea. And I think what you are as a Clayton's judge is it's like the Packers prize in the Archibald prize. You know how the Packers, they unpack it all and they do all the putting together? They choose their favourites. And people think, yeah, that's fantastic. And then the real ones are chosen. But I think that's, it comes from the heart too. The first book on my Clayton's shortlist is Sue Walker's Arnie Avery. This heartwarming, engaging story explores the theme of loss and facing up to your fears and bullying. It's told with humour and sensitivity, with plenty of action that will get boy and girl readers cheering for the protagonist right through to the final word. It was a fantastic story. I just loved it so much. My second book Ruth Stark's Captain Stella. I love chapter books for younger readers. It's a very special age for young readers. This is when they're tackling those first real-looking books. So the stories have to grab them. They have to have fantastic characters that they can relate to. And it takes skill, real skill to write that sort of thing. So because I love them so much, I thought it was only fair that one of my winners would be a shorter book. This is one of those perfect little stories, set in an ordinary suburb, a great plot with a cast of believable characters, including a strong female protagonist, Stella, who comes up with a practical solution to benefit her community, and that's to save the local lifeline, second-hand shop, from being taken over and closed down. And the cast of characters, the people who live in the suburb are so real in this story, and funny people, and yeah, it was terrific. And she wins in the end, so power to the girl characters. My next book, because I didn't write down the name of the main character, and I've got so many characters falling out of my head, I've forgotten her name. But this novel grabs you from the very first page. I didn't think it would, because there have been so many stories based around this particular time in history, when the Nazis were in Germany, or beginning to come to power, and the Jewish people were starting to feel the ramifications of what was going to come. And when the little girl, who's 5 in the story, starts off, her father tells her to be silent, to not talk in case somebody finds out. So she doesn't talk. When they take it away, she doesn't talk. Everything, the whole story is coming out from her head, but she doesn't speak. This one stands out in the genre, a coming-of-age story set in terrible, tragic times about a courageous girl who never loses hope. It's a beautifully written story that will stay in your mind and your heart. Our next story, Sandy Fussel's Jaguar Warrior. This exciting novel, adventure novel, delves into another culture, another country, another time, with 3 engaging characters who are fugitive on a quest and they're running for their lives. It's set in the Aztec times, and Sandy is a meticulous researcher, and it shows in this story. It's authentic, with fascinating images from an unknown past, and but you never get the feeling that you're reading research. Sandy does not dump info, as they say. She is terrific, and she brings it. She's a good writer, and she brings it in through the story, like you're almost living it. I hope this is the first of a series, so I can keep reading them. My next one. Nowhere to put my water bottle, so I don't want to drop it off. My next story is a powerful story of a young boy's survival against bullying, coupled with the ramifications of violence in his past life and his family breakup. It's also a story of the Australian landscape, and used in the right hands, the Australian landscape is a powerful character. The thrilling climax of this story, as the fiery monster approaches, because this is set around the time of the bushfires outside Melbourne a couple of years ago, Boxing Day. But it's heart-thumpingly exciting as you're coming down to the end. A fast-paced story that both boys and girls will love. And the character's fantastic too, really gets you in. My last one, of course, is an exceptional book that quietly, without fuss, lodges itself in my heart, a bit like its author. He's a good friend. It's not just the author's sure touch to capture the voice of the young narrator. It's funny and sad, a story with heart. An excellent book to read aloud to a class. And it's got a dog in it, you know. And he's a gorgeous dog. He's fantastic. Stories have to be pretty damn good to make me cry, and then also leave a sense of hope as well. And this book does just that. So that's my 6. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. Before I open it, I just wanted to say that I guess most of you are teacher librarians, possibly. The fight goes on, as you know, and especially across the country, to try and save what's happening to school libraries, especially in state schools. So, yes, the battle goes on. I'm not sure what's happening with it, but okay, here we go. First one on the list, Just a Dog, Michael Gerard Bauer. Second on the list, Henry Hoey Hobson, Christine Bonges. Third one, Violet Mackerel's Brilliant Plot by Anna Branford and Sarah Davis. Fourth one, Isabel Carmody's The Red Wind. Meg McKinlay and Leela Rudge, Duck for a Day. And another favourite of mine, Sally Murphy's Toppling. Thank you. Enjoy the evening.